Hello, everyone. It's a Sunday afternoon. We are going live. You might hear some noise in the background. That's our generator running. We've had a very strange last few weeks with the rain and then wind. And then we thought we were pretty much in the clear, and then another windstorm came through and raised havoc. We've been out of power. Our power has been out since Wednesday. No, Thursday. Thursday morning around, was it 8 o'clock?
Around there.
No, it was Wednesday.
I don't know.
I was
I don't
home,
remember.
yeah.
It's been so long.
I think it was Wednesday because the boys were just getting ready to go to school.
Yep.
And then the power went out. I ran the generator that day, and then Thursday I went to work. So yeah, it's been
a few days.
Anyway, we're gonna hop on here live. We're gonna read some of the comments. I read one comment, and somebody, don't remember who it was. I'm not reading the comments at the moment, but one person was wondering, how is your greenhouse still standing? Those are staked down. I put stakes every 5 feet, I think, and pounded them down about 3 feet into the ground, and then fastened the framework of the greenhouse onto that. So that's why the greenhouse is still standing.
And thankfully there were no trees around it, so nothing fell. Well, there were trees around it.
There's a lot of trees around it.
They fell the other way.
They all fell the other way, thankfully.
So if you hear a noise, that's our generator. And we did see the work crew out on the road, so they're working on it.
Yeah, they have a couple of different crews. They have a crew that comes through and just saws all the dead trees or the trees that are down onto the power lines. And later another crew will come in and repair it. And they're like, I don't think this one's going to take too long. So they cut the tree down that was leaning on our property line, and they were working on some other stuff down the road. We did drive up in the mountains, like that way, like closer to the mountains, and the further we got up in there, the less damage there was. In the hills, the hills broke the wind, but man, if you go out the other way, there's sections where it's just everything is like there's just trees snapped everywhere.
I remember a few years ago, we had a windstorm, but and we were without power for a few days. But we had a windstorm, and then a few days later we had another windstorm. So we got a double windstorm.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that got knocked out the first time, the stuff that was repaired got knocked down again. So it's like got knocked down, and just as you're getting back up to your feet, you get hit again. Like getting hit when you're down.
So I'm really hoping for power. It's the Christmas week, and I have a whole menu planned for Christmas. And all our refrigerator quit working. We borrowed a generator.
Yeah, ours gave out. Like it ran for 1 day and then it quit.
Yeah.
We got it fixed, but we were out of power for almost a day. Borrowed another generator, but there was something goofed up with it. The 220 was not working correctly. The one leg was hot, the other one was not, and the one that was hot was too hot. And I think I had so far I've counted 17 lights
that went out. Must have been a surge, because our refrigerator is out, our washer is out, and a whole bunch of lights.
Yeah, we had 17 lights that went out. And when I hooked that, the idea was to hook that generator up and pump a bunch of water and then take it back. But it didn't pump. And finally, I quickly shut it off. Like, I think this thing is not producing power the way it's supposed to. I have 2 electrical testers that don't do me very much good if they're 120 miles away on a job. Maybe not quite 100. It's almost 100. They're in Big Fork, Montana right now on a job. I have both of them in one of the job trailers, which I use them on a regular basis because I do spray foam and we need to check power in places. And so that's kind of the scoop here. I don't know if we're going to try to repair the refrigerator or if we're going to have to buckle down and get a different one.
Yeah.
But I have a bunch of lights to replace, and the trees most of the day yesterday is Saturday. I spent cleaning up trees, chopping it into firewood length, and just throwing it on a separate pile. Those will get stacked up next spring, and by next year that'll be dry firewood. I do have a number of big trees that went down, and there's a couple that I'm going to be cutting into length, figure out what I want to do with them, and put them on the sawmill, make something useful out of it. Maybe we should.
Yeah.
Maybe we should cut lumber to build a swing set.
Oh yeah, we need a swing set.
The boys got a couple more years. Do we have any comments coming in?
Yep. Says, see.
Lavina Sworry, good to hear from you. I've been seeing on Facebook and on the news about Libya, Montana. First about the flood, now the storms and the power outages. Glad to see your face and that you're surviving. I hope to get the power back on real soon. Yeah, boy, we are really hoping to get power back on. We can get by. It's just our lifestyle is kind of set up for electricity.
Isn't that sad?
Even though we grew up without power, I mean, if we wouldn't have power, we'd adjust to it. But
we get
set
so
up,
yeah.
set up for power.
Mhm.
Somebody said those chocolate-covered peanut butter balls are called Buckeyes. That sounds like a good name for them.
We don't know what to call them.
We always call them chocolate-covered peanut butter balls, but a Buckeye, that sounds like be a good name for them.
Here you said, you can melt your chocolate in the microwave, then keep it warm on a hot plate.
You know, a microwave is something that we don't even have in the house.
Yeah, I decided to not have a microwave in the house. I just thought it wasn't.
We've heard that they're not storage. They emit so much radiation.
Yeah.
And years and years ago, even the first place that we lived in after we got married, we just decided, you know what, we're not going to have a microwave in the house. I do have one out in the shop on a shelf, and once in a great while we'll bring it in and plug it in for something. But for the most part, no, we don't even have a microwave that we use in our kitchen. Okay, I want to read that one. Somebody comment, when you say your refrigerator and lights are out, is that just because there's no electricity, or are they ruined? Not clear on what you're referring to.
Oh.
So the refrigerator, the lights come on. When I plug it in, I can hear a power surge on the generator. I can hear the compressor running, but it doesn't cool down. Like yesterday, we had it unplugged for a while. We're getting stuff out of there. I moved it forward and checked everything out, got the air hose in and blew everything out from underneath it. I plugged it in, and I could hear it running, and then there's the one line, the coolant line that comes out, started getting frosty and cold, like, okay, that was it. And then like 30 minutes later, all of a sudden it just quit working. Like it's not,
yeah, I think
it's not making
surge.
Cool air.
Yeah, I think there was a surge, and we may just have to get a new refrigerator. Crazy Doxy Lady. I'm from Ohio. Yes, those peanut butter balls are called Buckeyes, and you leave 20% uncovered, so it looks like a Buckeye nut off a tree. Oh, okay.
Something I really want to do the next time I make those is not do everything in one setting. Get the peanut butter balls like a little more firm.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what to use that we wouldn't have to use so much powdered sugar. Maybe you guys would know if there's something that we could use so it wouldn't be so high in sugar. But if you do that, I've heard of people putting them in the refrigerator or freezing them, and then they take a toothpick and they dunk it in there, and there's a thick layer of chocolate that immediately hardens
that
on
would be
there.
good. That would be good.
And you don't have such a sloppy mess like it where it runs down.
Is this your first live stream? It's the first one I've caught.
It is. It's our very first one.
No, we've done one before.
But you pre-recorded it and posted it as a live.
No, it was a live. We did
Oh,
one
okay.
live. That was a long
First
time
time
ago.
I remember, yeah.
Lives are scary, guys. Usually I like to pre-record, edit everything, and then post. But yeah, lives are a little bit, because you don't edit anything. You just see us raw and unfiltered.
You're gonna have to read them. I can't quite read it.
Sharon Davidson.
Oh, it said we did a live with the shot glass collection. That was okay.
No, that wasn't a live.
Was that like a pre-recorded?
That was a
fake live?
pre-recorded. I was thinking of doing a live then, but it was actually pre-recorded. So Sharon Davidson, you said hi from Cambria, UK. Oh, wow.
Across
Merry
the
Christmas
pond.
to your lovely family. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you too. Wow, that's awesome. It's crazy how YouTube brings the whole world together, right?
Sarah Bontrager, I made 198 Buckeyes this year. I did with the toothpick method too.
Oh, wow.
I make this a lot for all my clients, family, and friends. Okay, I'm gonna have to do the toothpick method.
Yeah, that would be good.
And I like the microwave idea.
I do
and
too.
having it in a smaller container, like smaller this way and taller,
And then
So
putting
you
it
don't-
on a hot plate.
so you don't have
Keep
to
it-
slosh it around so much. And I like that idea. Of
It's a big mess just on the stove.
taking a toothpick, dunking it in, and being done
Yeah.
with it. So we'd have to dunk it in and leave a little round part so it looks like an eye, right?
Yeah, yes. Okay, Thomas Games, you asked, what happened? I'm new to the stream. Well, you didn't miss too much.
What happened is we started out with a decently long fall.
Yeah.
And then it got cold. We had some snow. It melted. And then it snowed again. And then it warmed up and it rained. They said it got 5 to 7 inches. I heard 10 inches. I don't think it rained 10 inches in the mountains. But anyway, we had a lot of rain in a very short time. We had some pretty major flooding going on in the low-lying areas. Some bridges washed out.
Oh, yes. We had
Housing,
bridges washed out.
like us personally, we're fine here. We're maybe 50, 80 feet above the closest creek here in elevation. Creek is about 1,200 feet away and we're well above it. But anyway, it was on a Wednesday night. We got a call about 11 o'clock from Mary's brother, and they live on one of the creeks.
Yeah, they live on a
And all of a sudden it
floodplain.
came up, the water was coming in. We went over there with our trailer, loaded up his refrigerators, his freezers. Yeah, they have a lot of that stuff out in a shop that's maybe 2 feet lower than the house. And we loaded up his pigs, his chickens, and brought them over here. And it came up maybe another 10 inches or 10, 12 inches after that. And then the next day it started going back down. So once that fiasco was all over, we thought, well, that was kind of weird. And then we got a windstorm, a major windstorm. A lot of the people in the county lost power, and they had about 2 days. They were getting a lot of it back up, and people were getting power. And then we had another windstorm that pretty much knocked it back further than what it was before. So we've been out of power now since
For almost a week.
almost.
We're almost
getting close to a week.
Can't
We've been out
remember
of
the
power.
day. Yep. Hampshire, England. Wow. And Ananias. Love watching your channel. Your recipes are amazing. You should write a cookery book. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Well, thank you.
That is on the back burner.
Yeah.
Mary has talked about that with her recipes, making a cookbook and making it available.
You know, I need to compile my cookbooks. I've got my recipes, I should say. I've got recipes all over the place, and I need to compile them, put them all together in one place. Because so many times I am digging through my recipe books and digging through for little pieces of paper or where I wrote out the recipe. So, Yeah, so we just thought we'd hop on here. It's a Sunday afternoon. Tomorrow night we're going to go caroling. So the boys are all excited about that. And we're so glad you're here. We're so glad you're joining us tonight. And
Last night we had the school program.
yep. Yeah.
How many children are in school?
There's
17?
about
I
17.
think 17.
Yeah.
3 girls and the rest are all boys. They
Yeah.
usually get a somewhat decent ratio, but there's a pretty good crop of boys.
Yep, there's 3 girls in school. The rest are boys.
Yeah.
Yep. So thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. And
Yeah, well,
hopefully
let's,
Christmas.
Let's hang on a few minutes longer, see if anybody.
Okay. Let's see. What is the worst weather you've lived through?
The worst weather.
I remember in Michigan we used to have tornadoes. But
We had tornado weather, but we never had a tornado hit our farm.
very close. Yeah.
2 years ago, we had just extreme cold. But that was maybe not as hard as this. It wasn't, I mean, you just fired up the wood stove, opened it up a little harder and stayed inside and took care of the animals, and that was about it. It wasn't like the power didn't go out. We were warm. We had one water pipe that froze for a little bit, and I figured out where that was and dealt with that.
Yeah.
Other than that, the worst weather, I remember when I lived in Wisconsin one night, we got really, really heavy rains, and there was one place that they said they got 13 inches of rain overnight, and it was kind of like it was here. There were certain sections of the county you just couldn't go anywhere. The roads were washed out unless you got on the state highways that were wider and they had more clearance for the water to get underneath. But bridges, culverts, stuff was just washed out. It was a mess.
Yeah.
But we do have quite a bit of work ahead of us as far as the cleanup. So not all the trees that blew down that got kind of bent over, we're gonna have to take those down, because what happens if the tree is standing up straight, the snow load will kind of disperse and it'll fall down. If the tree starts to lean, one good heavy snowfall and the trees that are leaning are going to go down. So we have a lot of small trees that are going to be going down.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure if I want to get a chipper to chip up the branches, or if I want to haul them off to the landfill, or wait until the spring to burn them.
Yeah, that would be good in the garden, wouldn't it? All those chips? Or is it too acidic?
They would need to break down for a number of years.
Oh, yeah.
Green, a whole tree, green chips like that doesn't work very well on the garden. It's too acidic.
Yeah, we have, if for some of you who may not know, we had a lot of trees go down on our property. So some of it is going for firewood, but there are some you're going to try to mill.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a number of them that are big enough to put on the sawmill. And
Yeah.
we have a lot of projects we could use it for. One of them is a swing set for the boys. I'd like to build a pretty decent sized swing set for the boys.
Oh, that would be nice.
We're wanting
That's
a
exciting.
covered patio in the back,
Mm-hmm.
which would require a number of 6x6 posts, beams,
Yep.
a header, and if I had enough trees to mill, I would probably mill the ceiling material too.
Oh, yeah. So I'm looking forward to next spring, because we have so many projects. The first thing is the garden. That is always exciting to start planting, but then my patio that we're planning on putting in the back.
Then we
here.
can get to grilling.
Oh, yeah.
Throw a grill out there.
Yeah.
And,
Maybe a smoker.
Chilling and grilling, yeah. We need to get a smoker.
And a grilling, and the swing set too. We want to get that swing set up before the boys get too big.
Yeah.
Before too long, they won't even want to play on it.
Swing set, a sandbox. I did have 2 places in the garden where the trees came in and broke the top rail down. I think those will be a decently easy fix. Do you have any more comments people are asking us?
Maybe powdered monk fruit for your buckeyes. That's a good
Ooh,
idea.
that would be really sweet, wouldn't it?
That would be a good idea.
We need something. We don't need to sweeten it. We just need to put some powder or something in it to get it so it's the texture that it keeps form and is not runny.
Yeah.
Oops. What did I do?
Jordan, we told the boys they have to be real quiet because we're going live tonight. This is Jordan boy right here. Yep. But it, yep.
Did you have fun?
Okay.
Maybe I'll have a chocolate.
So, if you got any comments or anything, leave it, or you would like any topics you'd like us to talk about, leave it in the comments. We will,
Yeah, give us something to talk about next
give us
time.
something to talk about. We're kind of talkless right now.
Oh, there's so much that's been happening that, is it interesting for people to...
Yeah, who like
Yeah.
the weather out here. Who's interested in our weather? Probably no one.
I have to think that if the temperatures would have been cold enough to snow, we would have a lot of snow this year. I was really hoping it would get cold enough that the lakes would freeze over, do some ice fishing this winter, but boy,
Yeah.
it hasn't been developing in that line as far as cold enough for ice fishing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's probably gonna wrap it up this time.
Yes. Give us
Yeah.
something to chat about. Leave it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.